What's up, everybody? Hey, I'm here for the Facebook Live, obviously, Q&A. I've got 2 or 3 questions that I took ahead of time that I'm going to go ahead and answer. So give people just a second that I tagged, a minute to hop on. Reginald, what's up, man? Hope you're well. I spilled that water everywhere. Not sure if you guys caught that. And give it just a second. See if the ones who ask questions, Luis and Braden, jump on. You like that water spit? And then, all right. I'm going to go ahead. They're tagged, so they'll see this regardless. I'm going to go ahead and answer these questions. They said, okay, so Luis says, what are some good calcium alternatives than milk and dairy? Okay, so he's asking this because he was previously asking if like he should go plant-based, and we already had another discussion about that. So I'm going to answer this question in the context of a plant-based diet. So like there are certain things that you can get calcium from on a plant-based diet. Certain leafy greens like broccoli, there are certain leafy greens, things like broccoli and others that I'm blanking on right now, that you can get calcium from. I think kale is one of them. Also, soy milk or almond milk that's fortified with calcium. There are certain types of, I think soybeans, soy milk, that kind of stuff has calcium in it. But ultimately, if you're on a plant-based diet, I recommend supplementing, literally taking a calcium pill to supplement, to make sure that you don't that you're not deficient. But basically, yeah, I would say, man, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a doctor. I'm happy to give just the research that's out there. I just literally regurgitate it, but I don't stand on my own authority when it comes to nutritional type things, specific like vitamins, minerals, things like that. So I would say consult a doctor, but I'd supplement to be safe, and then I'd try to get some of those leafy greens, specific ones. It's not all of them, weirdly. It's I think it's weird ones, it's kale, it's Chinese cabbage or something like that, broccoli, things like that contain calcium. And then the milks, obviously the plant-based milks like soy or almond that are fortified with calcium would be some good sources on that. Let's see. Luis also mentions, he says, I'm at a plateau in my weight loss journey, and then he gives some details about it. Basically, the thing I would say here is everybody who goes through a weight loss hits a plateau. You know what I mean? It just happens. Unless they're only trying to lose 10, 20 pounds, you can lose 10, 20 pounds without hitting a plateau. But if you're trying to lose, if you're obese, if you're significantly overweight and you're trying to lose a good bit of weight, everybody hits plateaus. It's just part of it. And the reason is when you first start a weight loss journey, you make some change, right? Whether it's you start tracking your calories and putting yourself into a deficit, whether it's you go a more elimination diet approach like keto or carnivore or plant-based or whatever, you wind up putting yourself into a caloric deficit by default by cutting out a lot of the other calories that you are having that are driving the calories up. So you put yourself into a calorie deficit, you see the weight loss go down. What happens at some point is you get to a place where your metabolism has slowed to the point where it's about the amount of calories that you're eating. So what has to happen is you have to manipulate one side or both sides of the equation. You have to either consume fewer calories and or you have to burn more calories. So those usually a combination of those two things is a good way to break through the plateau. I would say that if you're at a plateau, probably you're consuming more calories than you think you are. There are all these different hidden calories, that people don't account for. There are, first of all, the biggest one is mismeasuring portion sizes, eyeballing it, or even if you are measuring, sometimes something calls for a level scoop and you have a heaping scoop. You know what I mean? That is that's one form of hidden calories. Another one is things you cook with, oils, butters, things like that are fats, and fats have 9 calories per gram. So that's going to push it up a good bit. Condiments, liquid calories like drinks. A lot of these are ones that people don't think about tracking because it's not a meal they sat down in front of. So make sure that you're tracking, and make sure that you're tracking accurately is a big thing about breaking through the plateaus. And then another one is just finding ways to increase more caloric output. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean you need to go extreme and go to an elimination diet if you've just been tracking your calories, although you can. Keep yourself motivated, whatever that, don't let me say whatever that takes, but keep yourself motivated within reason and within things that scientifically make sense to keep going. So I would say make sure that your calories are where you actually think they are. And if they are, you have to manipulate more calories out through different types of exercise, or you need to decrease the amount of calories you're taking in some way. And that doesn't necessarily mean, by the way, that you consume less food. It just means you consume fewer calories. You know what I mean? And just by way of example, if you cut out a cup of peanuts, which is itself over 800 calories, you could probably have 8 heads of cabbage or something like that. And nobody's going to do that, but I'm just saying there are all kinds of examples like that where you technically get more food for fewer calories. A lot of it's just about food choice. Let's see here. Moving on. Brayden says, in an ideal situation, is there ever a reason for your fitness goals to just be maintenance mode? Meaning, is there ever a reason to say, I'm plenty strong, I don't need to be stronger nor bigger, so I'm just going to maintain from here? Dude, that's a good question. The way I'm going to answer it is no. I would say that there's not a time that you should just plan for maintenance when it comes to lifts like that. And here's why. If this were not a factor, I would say yes, but the reason is aging. The older you get, the more difficult it's going to be to do that. So let's just throw an example out there. Let's say, Brayden, your goal is to get your bench press up to 225 for 5 reps, right? So you finally get it to 225 for 5 reps, and week after week, year after year, you go in there and you do 225 for 5 reps. At some point, one day, you're going to go in there, you're not going to be able to do 225 for 5 reps anymore. And the reason is you've aged, you've lost some muscle mass, you have, just with aging, your joints are not as strong and stable as they used to be. You potentially have lost some bone density. There's all kind of stuff in there that would affect that. So what you would consider and think as maintenance is actually a very slow decline. So for that reason, I suggest always trying to push the weight and or reps up so that that's true maintenance, if that makes sense. It doesn't have to be fast. It doesn't have to be aggressive, but it does need to be present. That's how I'd answer that. Let's see here. Those are all the questions I had ahead of time. Reginald, thanks for being here. Aunt Barbara, what's up? Haven't seen you in forever. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. Anybody have any questions? All right, I'm gonna end it. If anybody puts any in after this, I will answer them on what's today? Friday, on the Monday live. Have a great weekend if I don't see you.